let's talk about the Orange Bowl, Penn State and Notre Dame. What is your first blush thoughts on this one, Bruce Feldman?
First blush thoughts are coming off Notre Dame's win against Georgia, which was, I think, just a validating win for that program. It'd been 3 decades since they'd won like a postseason game like that of substance. It was against Georgia. Not only that, I think what was really, an interesting subplot to this is Marcus Freeman gets this job after 1 year at Notre Dame. Young coach, charismatic. He's a good-looking guy who was really well respected in the industry. But now it's a big job. A lot of guys get their first head coaching job. It is not at Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. And so there were some good moments, some rocky moments. He starts out the first time he's a head coach. They lose. They fall apart in the second half against Oklahoma State. Then there's the loss to Marshall and a loss to a bad Stanford team. And then this year, obviously, lose to Northern Illinois. In that game against Georgia, though, he out-coached Kirby Smart. He out-foxed him. I thought that was, I don't want to say a crowning moment because it's not the national title game, but that was, I think, a huge statement for you saw what they've done. I think he's made some really smart hires. Al Golden on the defensive side to run the defense, getting Mike Denbrock back from LSU to run the offense. Put together a really good staff. They're really good on special teams. I think it's been very cool to see. You and I both grew up in the Northeast around the same time. There was a lot of people who either love Notre Dame or you hate them. I feel like there's a bunch of people who used to hate Notre Dame who are like, yeah, they're a tough team to hate now with Marcus Freeman there.
And I'm one of them, but I still find it deep in my soul enough to,
Come on, you can move on from that.
But they are an interesting team, and you want to talk about, because we just talked about Michigan using the transfer portal. I mean, Riley Leonard and Oben from Duke alone.
The kick returner who, people talk a lot about the middle
from
eight.
Marshall.
Yeah, people talk about the middle eight. It was basically the middle 2. It was the minute before halftime and then the opening kickoff. That changed the game. It changed the tenor of that game.
Yeah, Bo Collins, a transfer from Clemson, caught the touchdown pass after Oben caused the forced fumble, and Riley Leonard, his Duke teammate, finds the kid from Clemson, and then the Marshall transfer runs it back, and then the South Carolina transfer kicks field goals. I mean, but I mean, obviously they have a ton of, and it's not just any transfer. You got to get through the provost at Notre Dame. That's not an easy spot.
Good on Notre Dame. They supported their guy. I think there were some rocky moments. It's on a big stage, and I felt like, again, whether they can win this game, like I feel like Penn State is fairly similar to them. They're a good defensive team, really good running backs. I think they're healthier. We'll see how.
Is Abdul Carter going to play in this one?
I think he's questionable, and we'll see. Real game time decision. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play.
Wow. That would be something, man. I mean, he's so talented.
He is, but of the 2 star players who are, we expect Jeremiah Love to play. He's the most dynamic weapon Notre Dame has. I feel like Penn State could get around not having Abdul Carter better than Notre Dame could get around not having. And look, Notre Dame has lost like 5 starters on defense. Ben Morrison, best cornerback. Riley Mills, probably their most disruptive D lineman. They've lost some really good players and found a way to get through it. Penn State has a lot of, again, Abdul Carter would probably be a top 5 pick as an edge rusher, but Penn State has a lot of really athletic D linemen that they can go after you. And it's not like Notre Dame is going to throw the ball 50 times. Mm-hmm. Like Riley Leonard's not throwing deep downfield. It's not much of a downfield passing game. Not saying Abdul Carter, if he can't play, it won't matter. But it's different if you were playing Quinn Ewers. It's different if you were playing Ohio State. Notre Dame's game is really they want to run the football, and they're not going to throw it all over the yard.
Fair enough to say Penn State is the most talented kid on the field, though, in Tyler Warren? I mean, is 44 of Penn State the most talented kid in the Orange Bowl? He's unbelievable. I will say that. Yeah,
I mean, he's a big tight end in kind of the Gronk mode. He's not quite as big as Gronk, but he is. They do a lot of really cool stuff with him. They don't have great outside receivers now. They do have 2 really good running backs. Katron Allen, I think people, were kind of wowed by Nick Singleton, who's more the size speed guy. And Katron Allen has gone off in the playoffs. Like, it's a really good 1-2 punch. And I think they do a lot of cool stuff with those 3 guys because they don't have like an elite outside receiver. An interesting subplot to this is, talking to some NFL draft people, The NFL, I think, is very intrigued by Penn State's quarterback. He's 6'5", he's 240. Drew Aller has a big arm. He's a decent athlete. He's a fast processor, which obviously people in the NFL are very intrigued by. If he plays really well, I know he said he's coming back.
Yeah.
But if it's word comes back to his camp saying, hey, you could be the first pick in the draft because people do not love this quarterback class, does that give him pause? Now, he's got to play well, this week against a good defense, but it's a big stage. Wouldn't shock me if there was push to get him. So
you're saying if let's just say he wins it all. Let's say Penn State
wins it all. Okay.
Yeah, so he's got a ring, he's got a trophy.
Ohio kid could beat, well, we'll see if it's Ohio State or Texas, whoever.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, and NFL scouts are saying you could be first overall. Maybe he changes his mind. I don't know.
If Penn State wins it all, then Drew Aller has definitely played well, extremely well over the last 2 weeks.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.